So let's talk about the actual tool of forgiveness statements. I actually use it also with my coaching clients, and I find that it's oftentimes hard to demonstrate what forgiveness statements look like to people who are long distance. I'm trying to explain it on the phone, and I'm telling them how to hold their hands and what to do, and it can be complicated. We're going to be using declarative statements, and we're going to be using the tapping. First, that we have energy in our bodies. Each of our fingers is connected to the meridian system in our body. And the meridian system is the system that they use for chiropractic and for acupuncture. And it's the electrical system in our bodies. Just a little side note, you can't really see the meridian system, but we know it's there. If I shoot dye into a point in my body that isn't a meridian point, that dye will dissolve. But if I shoot dye into a point that is a meridian point, it will actually transfer throughout my body to other points. And so we know that electrical system is there and actually exists medically. It's a biblical concept, and I'm going to explain that in another video. But we have energy in our fingertips. As I do this, you can mirror me. So if I'm using my right hand, you can use your left hand. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking one hand and tapping the other hand like this. Each finger on our other hand represents the people that we need to forgive. This finger, my index finger, represents me. It's the finger that I point to myself with, okay? So I'm going to be making statements and tapping with statements like, I forgive myself for saying what I just said. I forgive myself for saying what I just said. I forgive myself for saying what I just said. So each statement we're going to make 3 times, and we're going to tap while we say that. After I make a statement, I'm going to do some tapping right here. This is a karate chop point. This spot right here on my hand, it's actually a gallbladder point. And it's just telling my body that I'm going to go on to the next statement. So after I make each statement, I'll tap that in like 3 times, and I'll go on to my next statement. So we've got our first finger. Our first finger represents me. The second finger, the middle finger, I'm not giving any of you the finger. The second finger represents God. Okay? God is the tallest of our fingers, and He can handle all these things. Some people will ask me, well, is it really biblical to have to forgive God? God is perfect. And I would say absolutely God is perfect. I believe that. But we are not. And unforgiveness creates a space in the relationship that is not good in that relationship with God. And so when I'm forgiving God, I'm making statements that might be holding me, that I might be angry at God for, but I'm choosing to forgive God. Again, He doesn't make mistakes. He's perfect. But I'm still releasing the emotion that I feel and that I've held up that has kept me separate or far away from moving closer to God. Think about the things that you're angry about at God for. So it might be, I forgive God for not giving me what I want. I forgive God. And the more specific you can be with these statements, the better. Something like, I forgive God for taking my mom. I forgive God for taking my mom. I forgive God for taking my mom. I'm tapping it in. And once again, I may be blaming God. I don't think, really, in my theologically accurate mind, I don't necessarily think God took my mom. But in that moment, that might feel true, and so I would say it. Okay, so that's God. All right? The second part of that is God forgives me. So we can use this finger as we forgive God, both I forgive God with statements like I forgive God, and statements like God forgives me. So God forgives me for blaming Him for my mom's death. God forgives me for blaming Him for my mom's death. God forgives me for blaming Him for my mom's death. And I tap it in. Okay? So we've got me, forgive myself. This one is I forgive God, and God forgives me. And then lastly is the pinky. This finger is where we forgive everybody else. I forgive my mom for dying. I forgive my mom for dying. I forgive my mom for dying. Again, they don't have to make sense, but I think when a statement feels true, that's when it's important to make those statements. Some people ask me, what about this finger? And this is a neutral finger, and that's oftentimes when you see like people meditating or something like that, they touch this finger, and this is a neutral finger. So just to wrap it up, forgiveness is required. Trust is earned. Forgiveness is required to keep me free, emotionally, spiritually, and physically free. Forgiveness is not so much for the other person. Forgiveness is for me. It is essential in not giving the enemy a foothold into my life, into my heart, into my physical body. It is essential. Oftentimes I tell people, you cannot afford to hold on to unforgiveness. You cannot afford to not forgive because of what it does to you, what it does to me. And I don't want to give the enemy an open door into my heart, into my soul, into my spirit. No way. He cannot have that. That is mine by God's grace. That is me and the Lord and not the enemy. Remember, forgiveness, our hand, we have both hands right here. There's energy in our fingertips. This is forgiving me. This is forgiving God, and God forgives me. And this is forgiving other people. Do it all day, every day. I do have clients that say, I can't always do it out loud. Do it in your head if you're going throughout the day. That's forgiveness statements. I'll see you next time. Woo! I love it. Good job, Sue. All right.